This by telling what I said to Sarah and Robin and Bob over there that I'm really used to working with children, so this is kind of, I'm very nervous right now. Be patient with me, thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. If you feel like leaving, if I'm too boring, it's okay. But I figured I'd start off with a little, probably 15 or 20-minute presentation here, and then a little bit about where I come from, where I get my inspiration from. Here we go. Okay. So I thought this would be a good picture to start with. This is just a few pages from my sketchbook. I get a lot of, I guess, how I work out ideas, just drawing them out, or I just come up with ideas through that. I've been drawing since I can remember, since being a little one. And I guess I'm trying to think about that here. When as I was little, I've always loved drawing. Got a lot of encouragement from parents, teachers, from friends. So stuck with it. Hoping, I guess, getting better at it. Also, since as a little kid, I remember like through elementary school, I remember anytime I had like any art projects in general, anytime we would learn how to like make masks or paper mache, I would go home and just be really excited about it and have to do it right then at home too, just to either expand on it or redo the project. So always loved art, always loved drawing. Also in elementary school, my mom started doing a at-home daycare. So I guess starting second grade and on, I've been around toddlers and babies. So I kind of became like I guess it's like an older sibling mentor kind of relationship. So I became very comfortable working with children from a little age up through elementary school, middle school, high school, until I went to college. I went to Texas State here, and I got my degree in art education, just because I guess I leaned towards what I'm comfortable with, and it was art and educating. So it worked out. They required like you to do, of course, art education classes, and then we had to take a whole slew of studio classes as well. And through the art education classes, I was introduced into I guess a lot of pinch pot building and paper mache work for working with kids. I did take one ceramics class, and I did enjoy it, but it was how can I put this? I didn't enjoy the I guess restraints and guidelines we had of like I guess what we had to work in, I guess what the projects were kind of based around. I guess I didn't really figure that out until I was thinking about it now, but until I took a sculpture class, I really realized like, because the arts professor was very just free and open, kind of like, this is the medium you're working with, you're going to work something with wood, just build what you want. You're going to use metal, just build what you want. And I realized I had a passion for making sculptures. I started doing these large scale, weird animal creatures out of, I would make them out of metal armatures and then use spray foam over it, and then acrylic over that. It just really, I guess I kind of fell in love with sculptures through that, just because I love working on large scale. It was very, very captivating, I guess. It's kind of like undeniable. Like when you walk in a room and see it, it's like it just grabs your attention. I just like that feeling of like either seeing people or even having that feeling for myself, being like, oh, I need that. It just grabs your attention. It's really great. So after college, I got a job at the Doherty Art Center, where I'm still working at to this day. I really like it because I'm working part-time, so I work with the kids, and then I have the other time to work on my artwork. But as you can see from here, these were a bunch of paper mache slots and some other fun paper mache freestanding sculptures that we worked on. As I was teaching kids that, we use this Elmer's art paste kind of stuff, and it's just really simple, really easy to work with. And as I'm working with the kids, I realized like I really enjoy working with paper mache, so I should do this on myself. So I think this is probably the one that really started it. Was this creepy little, I don't know what this would be, like a lion bear hybrid kind of thing, but he's still guarding the hallways to the ceramic studio at the Doherty to this day. But so made that little guy, and after that I started working on these, I guess like we call them like bad taxidermy type animals out of paper mache. From there I started working on came up with this guy. This is a large scale devil, I guess you could call him. From the hoof to his horns, he's just under 6 feet tall. I mean, started off with like a metal armature, then added the paper mache on top, and finished it off with acrylic. I like working in this form too, because I guess it's just like with the metal and the paper mache, I can like be free to work with movements, be very expressive. You can obviously see the textures in there too. It's fun to explore the textures with the paper mache, and I think it's just very fun to draw people's attention and get it through that. I also work on a smaller scale too with paper mache. These ones are probably about yay big. They're all in little tree stumps. And again, with metal armatures, it's very easy to make them expressive kind of movement sculptures. And I, again, working with textures, very fascinated with that. I like playing with weird puns sometimes too. We got Mr. Peyote heads, got some cactuses on head. That's just a model Allosaurus. Been also obsessed with dinosaurs since a little kid. And Buffalo on the Cob. I can't really tell you where that was. Actually, I do remember that one. That was, again, working with the kids, I get lots of ideas from them. It was something to do with unicorn horns, and then it came into like a corn on the cob horn, and then we came up with buffalo on the cob. It was just ideas like that. There's lots of ideas from them. This was my latest large-scale paper mache piece. Called this one Through the Muck. It's just two piggybacking bears. I feel like when I don't know what I'm doing, I lean towards making bears for some reason. Those. So going back to the Doherty here, so I've been working there since 2013. Aside from doing paper mache, I also do a lot of ceramics with the kids. It's probably what I do the most of because they enjoy that the most, and I'm trying to make it easy and fun for myself as well. So we do a lot of pinch pot animals, a lot of coil pot building too. The way it works is we normally have a theme to kind of go off of. So this one was, I guess, wilderness theme. I taught them a lesson, learned about sloths, and we did a little pinch pot building sloth lesson. And we had Under the Sea, so horses, octopus, got pandas for around the world, and then some monsters and pets. And again, as I'm working with them, with the clay, really I took one ceramics class in college, and then I started teaching just pinch pot building in 2013. And around, I think it was 2017 in the summer, I can almost remember, I was working on a project with the kids, and it was it was very fun. I felt just a light bulb. I'm like, oh, this is really fun. I should do this for myself. So I started taking classes at the Doherty, adult classes, which I think Robin was the first one I took one with. I believe it was, for sure, I've learned so much from you, and I really appreciate it. So much information, but and even still, it took me a long, I don't know how many classes of frustrating buildings that I would have broken pieces. Some things just got thrown away. Some things I look back, I'm like, I don't know. I'm still living in my family's place because they're just terrible and they won't throw them away for some reason. But anyways, finally created something I'm happy with. This is the first largest scale piece that I worked on. It was, I think how big this one was. I really wish I wanted to bring something that I totally forgot, but about that tall. And I just like this one because it had just a very subtle texture, and just kind of messing with underglazes, experimenting with those through Robin's encouragement. Again, very happy with that one, and I started just kind of going off from that. I think this next one wanted to get more interested in building things that kind of show interaction with the piece. So it's not just about just a single creature, animal, whatever. So with this one, I have a kind of a play on this weird wrinkly creature is looking at his little tentacle friend here, and I'll leave it up to the viewer to decide what's going on with that. But I like to build narratives in the pieces to make people come up with their own stories in a way. These ones we have some ceramic lions and some, I don't know, little bear, otter creatures. I feel like with a lot of my work, you'll notice I have the lowered eyes just because I like the look of it. I feel like they maybe live in a world with a lot of, maybe just it's a little bit of sloth DNA and everything that lives there or something. Got that going on. So again, I always kind of play with textures, movements, interactions. Say it again. Did you have titles? This one was Uncertainty Together, and this one was Prelude to Adventure. I kind of thought it's like these little bears talking to each other, coming up with a plan. And then we got our wolf and buffalo here. This one, I think I was. Just sometimes I'll get ideas from little tangents that I'm on. So I think I watched the West documentary, the PBS one. It was a really good documentary, and I was obsessed with that whole thing. So we with the buffalo and cowboy, you can kind of see Wolf's got an arrow going through his knee. And again, with working with the kids, I kind of have I feel like I'm in that frame of mind all the time, just coming up with fun little weird stories. So this one was just based off the fable, but tortoise and the hare, instead of actually racing, they see a snail and just forget it and decide to play with snails instead. Hold on, slow and steady. This was a bunch of ceramic. These were wall hanging pieces, so these were just a fun bluegrass band that I came up with. Again, just kind of experimenting with textures and interactions between works. Those were again some wall hanging pieces. So it's been nice for me trying to just, I guess, something else to figure out and work with is besides just sitting on the table or coming up with things where they can hang on the wall kind of thing. So and this one too, I'm kind of, it's hard to tell with pictures, but I should have brought an example. But again, kind of working with a kind of like a warped perspective in a way. So this one, it looks like he's kind of sinking into the wall. If you see it in real life. Same thing with this one. His leg is kind of going into the wall, his arms too. And then our last little guy, I don't have a picture, but I do have other apples too that look like they're spilling out of the bucket here. So it's kind of a fun little piece. With this next one here, I was experimenting with just some negative space on that one. Textures, obviously. Little universe bear trying to fill the void somehow.
So that's a hole all the way through.
Yes, it is, yeah. But this next one, this was this was from last summer, and again, I think it was after a bear lesson with the kids, and I was obsessed with sun bears. So I don't know how the pickle bear aspect came about with it, but it was pickle bears, and then there's another instructor talking to a kid about playing pickleball. So it just made sense to me. Pickle bears playing pickleball.
Are those glazed or painted?
All right, so most of my work is underglaze. These are actually, when I got them, I like to do mid-fire, but the greens just burnt out completely. So I did go over with acrylic paint for those ones.
But the other ones are glazed.
Most of the time, yeah. I think for the most, I'm trying to think about that here. I think all the other ones have been all underglaze. Yeah, I use velvet underglazes. Is it Amico?
Amico, yeah.
What kind of clay are you using?
Most of these are raccoon body, but I've recently just switched to the groggy Cinco Rojo. I like it a lot here, so I'm using that next here. But yeah,
Have you started to come forward?
most of the time, yeah, I think so. Get fired from for it. This was dandelion, so kind of play with the tongues again. Play with. This next two we got with this one here, this creepy little thing. I was thinking about being a kid, and I remember this weird feeling of actually it came from like having, I remember my parents having friends over, like being, I don't know how old I would have been, but I remember just like having my favorite toy and like being so proud of it and wanting to parade it around, just like show my parents' friends whatever toy I had at the time. So it's a little childhood representation of this. That's fascinating, this fish. And then pig and platypus save the world. I just thought it was a fun little thing. And we got this one, a moment of concern. So we have a little bear who's maybe just concerned about his little friend, bird friend, who's maybe seen some stuff. Those that were, yeah, these are all underglaze. And these as well. These are Dance of the Sugar Plum Kitties. Off the ballet, but again, I was just working with this variety of cats to try to complete a whole cohesive piece there.
And what's the scale?
They are all, I mean, I'm trying to think here. The smallest one, smallest one is our little kitty there, and she's probably about that big. And then the bigger ones are, I don't know, 12 to 14 inches taller, so about like that. And they're all wall hanging pieces as well.
So like their arms and legs just seem so delicate.
They are. Yeah. I'm very surprised that I didn't break anything, especially dropping. I transport them over to Sarah's to get them fired. I mean, she knows the heartache I felt with a couple pieces that I broke driving over, but none of these. That was good.
Do those have armatures?
These, no, they do not. They're all ceramic. And this was a larger scale moon bear. This is my latest large scale ceramic one that I made. He is about 2 feet tall from his feet to the top of his head, and then the rocket ship adds another 10 inches or so. But the smoke, there's actually another rod kind of going through, and I just put little called them plumes of smoke going through it to kind of mask the sights of the rod. And it was my first time experimenting with the white gold buster. It came out, and I was super stoked on that. But again, I was just playing with puns about the moon. There's actually a species of bear called the moon bear, so I came up with the moon bear. And coworker gave me the idea. Of course, he's drinking moonshine. That's why he's having a little trip here, watching the here recently, it's a piece I'm working on right now in my garage. It's, actually, just a few weeks ago, I did a triceratops lesson with the kids, and as I was doing a demo, this little girl said that my horns look like carrots, and I was like, I got super excited. I'm like, that's a great idea. You should do that. She made her little triceratops with carrots on her horns. And we came up with the idea of triceratops. Sometimes I just do little painting the face about it, but now I'm working on triceratops. This is another pretty decent size, and including the horns, it's probably just under 2 feet tall. pretty excited about that one.
You teach kids, right?
Yes, yeah, lots of ceramic pinch pots, animals and stuff like that.
Very.
But those are all, I mean, obviously like they're small scale for them. And the largest ceramic piece I've done was this guy here. He is right at 3 feet tall from his feet to his top of his little hat there. This one, yes, this is I'm very proud of, but I did take lots and lots of work here. And actually, it's one of the few projects too that I've documented while I'm working on. I don't really do it that often, but I took a few pictures of my process with that one. So I came up with the sketch here. I knew I wanted to make a large scale piece, and I knew I had to work with size restraints of putting it in the kiln. So I figured, like, if I'm going to cut it off, I have to have a point so that I can cover up that cut lines where you don't see it. So I decided I would conceal it with a rope, and then I figured out, like, I have a bear that's tied up with a rope maybe, and then I kind of came up with that idea of making it to a circus bear. So basically I just do everything with coil belts, start off anything basically the big bowl shape like that. Build up my coils. As I'm waiting for it to dry to build it up taller, I'll add maybe either pinch pot forms or more coil built forms to add on to this. This large thing eventually became a hit. I'm sure I cut it down at one point, so it's gigantic.
Yes.
And as I'm getting so I add it more, make it taller, and I'm waiting for that to dry. I also start doing textures and just work my way from the bottom up.
How thick is that?
Pretty thick at the bottom. I'm sure it's at least half an inch, maybe even close to 3/4 of an inch, but I try to get thinner as I go up towards the top. Sometimes not as successful, that it still ends up being kind of big on the top of it, but building everything with coils, including hands and arms, everything like that. And then just I support it with like little skeleton going up. Building it taller and taller, so again, just adding more textures as I work my way up. You kind of see the cut line I'm working with right there, and then figuring out like how to add the shapes as I'm going up. It's kind of a struggle with me, is trying to, as I'm building up, it's obviously just looks like that vessel form, so I'm trying to change the shape to give it more of a, what is that word, contrapposto kind of form, to something that looks more natural in a way. So I'm constantly frustrating myself, but I know, even though I know it's part of the process, I'm always either cutting clay and reforming it or shaping it as I go up. Then just more pinch pot forms, add different forms to it that would put it in the snout, and then just whacking it with a wooden spoon to try to change the shape a little bit. And going back in, adding some details. You can see the big hole I cut on top there, just to be able to stick my arm in and kind of work from the inside and push out different forms if I feel like I need to change it up some. And eventually, when I get it all built, I will underglaze the greenware. So not fired yet, I'll underglaze it. And then after it's disc fired, and that underglaze is fixed on there, I'll go and paint it with a blue or black. And then I will wipe it off, so the fixed underglaze will stay, but the black will get wiped away except for the cracks and crevices. So it really pops out that contrast and textures. And then with this one, unfortunately, I don't know if it was issues with the underglaze. I do remember it being really thin when I painted on, or maybe I just got oil or something on there. I don't know if I had something on my hands, but I had some chipping going on the vest, which was very frustrating, but just kind of have to say, oh well, I guess. And I ended up painting it over with acrylic medium and acrylic paint, and it kind of, I like the way it turned out. It kind of has like a waxy kind of look to it, so it's pretty cool. But I added acrylic paint and then added epoxy for the rope to conceal the cut line, and then have our finished bear there. And I believe that is it. I would show y'all. Thank you. She's a smaller.
Do you need a stool, John, or if you
No, I'm going to work.
that table also cranks up
Oh.
if you want it taller.
Yeah, I'm gonna work standing up here. I work also in my unair-conditioned hot garage. It's great fun, especially in the summer, because mosquitoes love coming in, even if I have this giant fan blasting, which it's always so fun. We got the fan going, drying out the clay, or otherwise I have the fan off and mosquitoes attacking me. This one, I actually do not know what I was making, so that means it's probably turning into a bear of some kind. Again, I started adding some claws at the bottom of this here. This is going to be weird for me working on this real. There's this little claw here. So maybe I will show y'all. Let's see, get my pick here.
make like that one, the largest piece?
The largest piece, the circus bear, was right at 40 hours for that one. So normally, like for mid-sized pieces, I think I would say around like 16 to 25 hours for like the mid-size. This is still like a little bit on a smaller scale from what I normally do. I normally make them a little bit bigger, wider than these.
What are you selling for?
I give myself $20 an hour plus like firing fees and what I have to like travel in for, or what am I trying to say? What I factor in for traveling and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
So 800 is a good bear.
Mhm. Let's see. I'm gonna do, actually I got that right here. I think, let me see, I'll show you all. Can I work on this table? Is it fine just to roll it? Okay. Yeah, okay. I normally, it's funny, looking at that kind of like hardy board stuff. I'm kind of used to that. This looks like it's not sticky. So normally I'll just start off again, just rolling my coils out. And I'm not very precise with it either.
And are you enjoying working with the Broadview?
Yeah,
store?
I like it. Yeah, and I think I don't know. I mean, is the little bits of sand, the grog in there? Does that? I feel like it gives it a little bit more like a shimmer after you get it mid-fired in a way. It's kind of adds a little bit of like slight, not, I don't want to say like sheen. In a way, it is kind of like a sheen, but I like it. So normally I'll just roll out my coil and decide, I guess, what the radius is going to be on the bottom, and it's not really precise. I might make it. I mean, if it ends up being smaller and I feel like I want to cut some clay away, that's fine. If it might change shape as I'm working on it too, but I'll just, I don't know, start pinching here. And then let's see, get my stuff ready. It's funny, I feel like I'm in the habit now of explaining to kids, but I would be talking if you were children, be like, you always get your scratcher, you always have to scratch it, whatever you're attaching, because it's like you pretend you're rock climbing, your fingers got to grab onto something. So the slip has to grab onto something too. So I will normally keep on building this up and up. I don't know if I should be trying to think if I should be doing this or just working on that one that I already have built here. But as I'm building it up, let's pretend maybe I will just do this really quick and not actually smooth it out like I normally would do, but I would be smoothing it out. And then, yeah, as I go, for sure. And then, let's see. And as if we would pretend that's smooth out there, I might take a break and like, if I made it another couple of coils tall, I might flip it over and then use my spoon and start kind of like patting it in there to make it more of like a round shape, or kind of switch it up a little bit to make it more round. Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's no really reason to show you all that because I'm sure y'all know how to coil build it anyways. So on this one, I have been working on kind of just doing that process there, but I would add, I guess, little pinch pot forms for the hips and then smooth it down, and then add, I guess, I'm not sure if you would call that, in a way it is kind of pinch pot-esque for like the legs and arms and everything, but I normally just grab a shape.
Are those legs hollow?
They are, yeah. I normally build them up kind of like this. I would get a little cylinder form, kind of. This is kind of big for that shape there.
Are all of your pieces based on a drawing?
Not all of them. I feel like I do like work out ideas a lot through sketches though. Yeah. This one was not. I had like didn't know what I was like. Oh, I need to make an example, so I'll just start building something. So for like legs and stuff, I would make just a cylinder form, and then normally use my handy dandy spoon here and just poke a hole through it like that. And then I'll dig my finger in there and just start pinching away, twisting and pinching until I get it. I don't know. I feel like I work pretty thick. It's normally like probably around ½ an inch or so, maybe a little bit thinner for appendages and things like that.
Do you, the fact that you've already put claws on, they seem so delicate. Do you worry about them breaking or?
I mean, sometimes I do. I mean, like after it's dried out for sure, but like as I'm building on it, not really. Because I know even if these were to, like one of them did get bent when I was unwrapping it, I can fix it pretty easily. Yeah. But normally, yeah, it is very frustrating when a claw breaks after it's been built. I'm like, especially after it's been fired, that's annoying.
Yeah. The two pieces that are split, like on the big bear, do you glue them?
I use, yeah, I can't remember if it might have been JB Weld epoxy. It's pretty strong stuff though. But yeah, so just build a form like that. I'm gonna actually save this later on for an arm once I start getting taller here, but that's how we would build up. That's how I did build up the legs. You know, I do like cutting at angles, which I might show y'all later here too. Actually, what time is it? Is there? Oh, there's a clock there. Okay, cool. Still cool.
We also talked about adding texture.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
what kind of tools.
Actually, yeah, I can do that maybe right now because I'm gonna build this up a little bit. Yeah, so the way I do it normally is so this clay is already, it's all pretty stiff, so I might just build it up a little bit more. And then as I'm waiting for it to dry, that's when I kind of go in and start adding textures and everything. And that way, just kind of save time that way. So with this one, I'm thinking it is kind of looking like just straight to me, kind of like a vessel in a way. So I do want to start working on what, I don't know what this thing is going to be doing. It might be leaning over just a little bit or leaning over into the side. So I think maybe I'll kind of come off this way. So if I were to do that, I'll just add a little bit of scratches more on the outside part of my vessel here instead of just building it straight up. So let's start doing that now. I'm going to scratch this all up. It's weird too for me doing this because when I'm at home, I'll work nice and slow, but here I feel like I'm always in that mode of like demonstrating in front of the kids, and I go really fast because they have a very short attention span and they want to start working. Like, oh, is this almost over yet? When are we gonna get to work?
How long are the classes?
I'm doing summer camp right now with them, and they're an hour and a half long. And normally I can't get them to sit still though for more than 15 minutes. Otherwise it's hard.
You make them go outside and run around a minute?
Yeah, we have, there are breaks before and after. Well, I guess the first class of the day, there's no breaks. There are actually, it's insane the amount of energy they have right at 8 o'clock. No, I guess, what is it, 9 o'clock in the morning still, but it's a lot. But they do have a break afterwards. And then I have a new group. I have, I guess, 2 different groups throughout the day, but even still, when they come in from after the break, I don't know, it's a hit or miss. Sometimes they're fine. Other times, I mean, it's very hot outside, so I understand it. They get kind of grumpy. They just want to lay down on the floor. Normally I stick with working with the handy dandy wooden tools. I like those a lot, especially I guess like the more smooth roundy ones for blending in the coils after I have it on there. This is also weird for me working like this, but so again, I'm kind of adding this one, just kind of going out more like that. It is very exaggerated, but I might, as I'm working, I'll probably end up pulling it back up a little bit, so it's not going to be so dramatic. Or it might, and I might get upset with it and change it. That happens a lot. Actually, with the triceratops that I showed you, the one that is actually built right now, I don't know, probably 5 seconds away from literally just chopping the head off and like start making another creature out of it. So I'm like, this is something didn't look right with it, but I kind of stuck with it. I don't remember if I maybe changed something up a little bit, but very close to just decapitating it, which does happen sometimes. I think that's pretty good. So I'm building that up.
Funny sculpture.
Just decapitated.
Saved all the decapitated heads.
Yeah.
Got a big pile.
That would be a good one. Yeah, I do have one in my garage now, just thinking about it, that's unfinished. It's been unfinished for years now, just because I'm like, I know the amount of time I spent working on it, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to really. And then, but when part of it broke, I'm like, I just don't want to finish it now. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should just decapitate it. Let's see if I had another coil there.
So for the ones that take quite a bit of time, how do you keep them wet enough to work on, especially sitting on like the separated backer?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll definitely have them wrapped up for sure as I go, and then, but sometimes I do like, that's why I kind of like this process the way I work, is just because it like I might let it dry as I'm working up, just, and then as long as I get the textures down, then I'll let it dry kind of thing. But otherwise, I'll keep it covered as I'm doing it.
Do you can stuff plastic in it too to try to make it, you know, like as you're working out, you can shove plastic.
Yeah,
in
for
it.
sure. Yeah, bags. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's one thing that's definitely have to watch out for working in the garage, especially that I have a big garage fan going. It does dry up pretty quick.
Do you ever use an armature or like stuffing for your clay things, like especially bigger things?
No, not really. Actually, the triceratops is the only time I actually kind of like had to like just rig up a bunch of like things stacked up, and I use like a piece of foam to help hold the head. But that was the first time I've ever worked with armatures before. Normally, or like, I don't know if you want to, I wouldn't even call that an armature really, but yeah, just stacking things kind of to help support it. But I've never actually built, like, I know like for like figures and stuff, sometimes people use like armatures, but I've never experimented with that before. I'm always scared, I guess, not always, but I've just got used to building with coils. So I've never done like the solid building either, where you like would build it up around the armature and then cut it kind of thing, I guess. Never tried that before.
You talk about using the metal armature for the paper mache. Do you weld that up?
Mhm. Yeah, and I don't really, I was gonna say, I don't really know what I'm doing when I'm welding. It's just kind of like looking at the settings and like, all right, that's the right gauge, I guess, and then just I'm treating it like a hot glue gun, really. So I wouldn't say it's, I mean, I don't know, if someone were to ask if you could hang on it to save your life, I wouldn't, I don't know, I'd be scared.
Structural.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, in a way, I guess, it's enough to at least support all the way to the paper mache. I mean, it hasn't tottered over or broken yet. I do have a giant pigeon man sculpture in front of my house right now. It's like, I guess, just a glorified lawn ornament, but he's taller than me. And so he's standing up on one leg, kind of like this, doing a weird pigeon dance kind of thing. But again, just metal armature. And it's been out in the Texas heat in the summer for, I don't know, he's been out there a good 4 or 5 months at least. And I was actually kind of worried that he wasn't going to survive. And I don't know any teenagers kind of walking through the neighborhood, but so far he's standing up.
Isn't there somewhere like a big pink dinosaur or something?
Yeah, that's at my family's place. That again was a giant. I made a rebar armature out of it. So we made it, it's like a brontosaurus, brachiosaurus type dinosaur. And then my brother actually hired some people to come out there and spray foam it all. So it just looks like this. And then we painted it with just house paint. So it's this just disgusting pink dinosaur that's out there. Yeah, it's big though. I mean, he's got to be, I don't know, 15, 16 feet tall, maybe. He's a big old guy. But yeah, so I like working on large scale just because I think, like I said before, it grabs your attention. You can't really, it's nice to, I like grabbing people's attention, I guess. Okay. So I might, normally if I was building things, I might make this a little bit taller if I was working on it, but I might take a break here and start doing some textures here. But again, I just kind of build up until like I kind of feel it, maybe it's like, oh, it might not be able to support too much more weight, and then I'll go work from the bottom up to add textures and everything while that's drying. But normally, yeah, I'll smooth the outside like I'm doing now, and then I'll go on in and smooth the inside as too.
Where are you showing and selling your work?
I just had a show at the Doherty Art Center. I don't have a website. I have an Instagram. That's about it. I really would like to get a website set up here. I am pretty sure, anyways, participating in West Austin Studio Tour coming up here.
Where are you gonna be?
I'm gonna be at a friend's place. I'm actually not gonna do it through mine just because I know he's lives off of, I think just west on First Street, I think, west of 71 or Ben White, whatever that is over there. It's a pretty, I mean, I was there last year and had a lot of people stop by, so I thought it was great, and hopefully we'll do it again there. All right, so, and then again, with when you're building up on the body, it is kind of funny how just like a very slight little subtle change in it coming out will, I mean, it really accentuates it later on. Like, oh, it looks a lot more different than just having a straight bodied vessel kind of thing. It's one thing that really annoyed me with some of my early work, or even now, if I'll see something that's straight and rigid, I just don't particularly like it for myself anyways. It's fine if other works kind of like that, but for me, I'm like, I kind of like it to show some type of movement or something in it, more natural kind of look. Alrighty, so we got what's up there. I'm trying to decide here. Normally I would kind of build it up to decide where a shoulder might be, and then I would kind of let that dry. So maybe I will add in maybe just a couple more coils here, just so as that's drying, then I can work on textures and kind of go back, try to think of it in a way to save time in a way like that, and also work with the clay drying. With this one, again, I started adding claws like a little barefoot, but I don't know, I'm not sure if I should. I guess I could give it some furry texture. I will use, like, for sure, like wooden tools for adding textures, but I also been experimenting with stamps here with like, go back a little bit with moon bear. Let me go past it.
Yeah.
There we go. Wait, is that it?
One more.
One more. There we go. Okay. With Moon Bear, I actually just made my own stamp kind of just out of a bisqueware, just unfired clay and just poked at it a bunch all the way around. Yeah, I think I used a golf ball in there. Yeah, you can definitely see some golf ball textures. A couple of different stamps, and then also probably went in there with wooden tools too and just kind of poked some different textures in there. But with fur, I really kind of found out that I like, instead of just using the tool to kind of dig into the clay, I'll add like extra form, and I'll show y'all here that in just a little bit too. But oops, it's nice, kind of just making it more dramatic, I guess, more furry.
So something like this piece would maybe, how tall do you think it will end up being? And then how many pounds of clay do you think you use?
With this one, I don't think I would, I probably won't end up using a full 25 pounds with this one. So probably a little bit less than 25. And then I'm guessing it'd probably be around, I'm trying to think here. If this comes up, shoulders, neck, I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. I don't know what it's going to be either. Yeah, maybe. This is, I don't know, this one might not be that much taller. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, normally I feel like my mid-range pieces are like around, from like 15 to 20 inches or so around there.
So I have a question, and I don't really know. I don't know how to ask her. So I've mostly spent my whole life in utilitarian stuff. And I would like to do sculpture and stuff, but I don't know how to see like the proportions, like you're like, something maybe the shoulder might be here. Is
There's not a right, maybe that's why I'm drawn to it so much, because I don't think there's a right way. I mean, especially with that's probably another, I'm sorry, I'm just jumping around in my head here. That's probably why I like making animals and weird creatures, because that way I'm like, I don't care if someone's judging if it's wonky looking or whatever. If I was doing figurative work, I probably would be like more like hesitant, or I'm not sure, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess again, for me, it doesn't matter, because it's, I'm kind of making like a playful cartoony kind of style anyway. So I don't really let the proportions worry me so much. And again, though, like, I guess I don't know, I'm just trying to like visualize it as I go up. I'll just try to plan out like what I think it might look like. And again, sometimes when I build and it happens quite often where I'll put something on there and I'm like, I don't like the way that looks at all. And I'll take it off. Actually, with the triceratops, can't remember how the legs were on that one now. And where you at? Next slide over. Okay, they're standing. So both legs are kind of like sitting almost like a cat or dog was in a way, kind of just sitting on his butt. But I think at one point, when I was building his left leg, he was sitting more crisscross, kind of like this. And like, I think I rebuilt it probably like, at least 4 times, maybe 5 times. I just hated the way, like, it didn't look right like this. So I ended up just taking it off after spending probably a few hours going back and forth. So it is annoying, but just kind of deal with it.
Just do it so you like.
Mhm.
So you build in your studio at home, and then do you have to take all your stuff then seriously?
Yeah. That's fun.
So
right?
you would like it to work, right?
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. Yeah,
Do you not have one because
I am renting right now in a place, and I just don't know what the. I mean, plus my lease is about to end here in a few months. I'm like, I mean, I definitely, I've been wanting to film for a while, but again, I just don't know what it's. It'll be like hiring an electrician and then like being like, all right, I have to move out now. So
Yeah.
if I had a permanent space or more of a space that I know I'd be in for a while, I would for sure. But it's just a matter of waiting until then, I guess. But yeah, I think I'm definitely getting better though, of learning like fragility of my stuff and how to pack it very gently into a car and maybe some pillows or blankets so it doesn't topple over.
I wasn't sure what you brought, and then we started going over the speed bumps.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh, whoops.
Yeah, I was thinking about this.
because I used to have to drive my stuff. A box full of sawdust.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. Geez.
That's what you- I mean,
Oh, sawdust, yeah.
Sawdust.
That's all. I actually have sawdust in my garage. I never thought of that. That's a good idea. Yeah. Got a bag full of it from it's funny.
On the inside of the coils, are you smoothing those too? or you
Yes, I
smooth
do.
those?
Yeah. On this one, again, I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm rushing through it with you guys just because I'm in that habit of working fast in front of people, but normally take my time and go slow and smooth it out. Like that's a weird thing I'll have going on in my head as I'm building, is like just trying to make sure it's not going to crack later on after it dries or after we get it fired, which I did notice with this working with this Cinco Rojo. It does I guess I don't know if it shrinks more or it just does have the tendency to like, yeah, either shrink or crack more often than that raccoon body, which is why I really like that raccoon body. But I do like the darker contrast with this too. So I think I'm gonna stick with this for a while.
Does it make a difference with your underglazes in certain applications? So the raccoon being more white and Cinderella have richer.
Yeah, actually I noticed like I kind of like, I haven't had too much experience with the underglazes. The lion, the dandelion was with that. I really like the way the colors came out. They didn't burn out with it on that. And normally, I mean, sometimes it's really, I don't ever, I'm really bad about actually like doing like test fires or just, I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever, we'll see how it turns out. But from what I've had so far, it's turned out great. Yeah, I haven't really, I mean, I'm trying to think, if anything, it looks like it's more of a kind of like a sheen for me anyways. It looks like it's not like a glossy finish, but it's not quite as matte as the raccoon body.
And that's got to be due to the vitrification. So this is vitrifying at 0.6.
Okay.
Yeah, you're closer to it at 0.4.
Gotcha, yeah.
The raccoon doesn't really vitrify until 10.
Gotcha, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is code 5 play?
I think it's cones, yeah, 5 or 6, right? It's a- and I did notice, yeah, I think with this last batch, I fired it at cone 4 and it didn't quite get like super dark like it would, but I mean, it was still dark enough where I liked it, like the color of it. So that's probably, still trying to decide if I wanted to make this taller or not for shoulders. I wish I knew what this thing was going to be. I kind of had the idea of it like leaning over like one. I do like to have, I mean, with exception of that one bear with the arm sticking out, I normally like to have like the appendages kind of secured in just so breaks don't happen quite as often. So I thought about having this one. I don't know, I thought about having it leaning over. I don't know if I want it to be touching the ground or touching its own hip. I'm not sure. Maybe the ground would be better, just looking at it. And again, I'm thinking about like the way it's leaning. So I guess that shoulder would be down lower and it would just kind of be supporting its own weight like that. If I were to have it be leaning that way in a way, except now I'm trying to think if this hip is higher. Sorry, let's see. This way. Yeah, that would make sense. So this, but yeah, right? Is that right? This hip, okay, yeah, I think that's right. So it would be leaning. Yeah, no, I'll literally do that. Yeah, as I'm working, I think. So that would be lower. Okay, gotcha. This shoulder would be lower and this one would be a little bit higher. And I mean, I will exaggerate it. Like, I mean, maybe you won't notice it much because again, they're like kind of playful, but I mean, if you're building and it was a person, it'd be like something crazy looking like that doesn't look right at all. But
Yeah.
I think animals I can get away with.
How many pieces are you building sailing?
Here recently I've been building a lot, but also it's a hard question to answer because I kind of, it depends on the size, I guess, too. I'm doing, here recently I just knocked out a whole bunch of like tiny or little bitty, just handheld sculpture, just because I thought it'd be nice to have a little variety of different size and price point kind of things, but for the studio tour. But I mean, like the kitty cats, I think I did all, like there's 11 of them. I probably did all of those within like, I guess probably, it probably took right at a month, I bet, for those 11 pieces for those cats. And yeah, that's why I love the place I'm at now, because I'm only working part-time. So I'm working with the kids and getting some good ideas from them, and also spending the rest of my time working on them in the garage.
How do you track your time?
I have a little black book that I log. I'll keep a little timer on my phone when I'm starting and when I finish.
Do you really?
I do, yep.
Oh my gosh.
I actually thought about bringing it, but I'm like, no, that's
I timed one of my bugs one time and then I stopped.
really, no, I mean,
Really upset.
oh, really? I mean, it's hard, yeah, but I mean, it gets easier as you the more and more you do it. But also too, it kind of like, that's also a good motivator for me to be like, all right, I'm gotta speed it up some or whatever. I'm taking too long, even though I say that, but then again, I might spend 3 hours working on a leg that I don't like, so I don't.
Yeah. They work just on one piece at a time.
No, I'll have definitely a lot of pieces going on at once, just because I feel like it's can save, actually end up saving more time that way. When if I'm waiting for something to dry, it's nice
That's why
to,
when you said you kept track of your time,
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, if I have multiple pieces going on, but I'm like not working on them simultaneously. I guess I'll work on one and then I'll pause and go on to another one kind of thing, but go back and forth. Also, that helps with, I don't know what you want to call, I don't think I might be ADD, but it just kind of helps if maybe if I'm losing attention with something, I can go on to something else and refocus, I guess.
And you're tracking like by project.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's probably getting tall enough to where I'm thinking I might end up adding a shoulder on there. So I might start doing textures here, but that's fun. I've done one time-lapse video and I can't remember how many hours of work it was. It might have been like somewhere around 10 to 12 hours of work, and it's like in a little 3-minute video, and like, oh man, it just kind of sad in a way. Like, man, it looked so easy, but it wasn't.
Do you listen to music or watch shows or?
Yeah, for sure. Listen to a lot of, actually, I could do get a lot of ideas too from music. It's just, I mean, it might be just like one little line or a few lyrics or whatever. It's fun to kind of play off of that too. Thinking that might be okay. So again, I'm not sure if I actually like the way how much it's sticking out really far there. So I might later on actually let this dry just a little bit. I might kind of go in and from the inside and pop it out some to maybe change the shape up, but I'll worry about that when I get to it. So while I'm waiting for it to dry, what I will probably end up doing is giving it some textures down there. And since, like I said, it's looking like kind of bear claws, I guess I'll do some fur texture. And the way I do that is I'll just roll up a bunch of tiny little coils. And I got to think about this because sometimes it's really hard for me when I'll start off like with a certain size and I might change it up without even realizing. I'm like, I don't know, it gets really annoying if you have like you'll start off small and it gets bigger as you go up, or vice versa. I don't know. So I really sometimes have to think about that, how big they're going to be. Also, too, I got to plan out, because if I make them too small, that's a lot of work to have a bunch of tiny little coils that you're turning into fur textures. So sometimes it's fun to just make them a little bit bigger and not have to spend twice as much time working on it. But what I'll do is, again, I'll just kind of roll up little shapes like that size. Just scuff up my surface a little bit all the way around. And normally what I'm kind of, I know I already had these legs built, but I would probably end up doing this one leg at a time. So I'd probably build the bottom leg first and then do the textures and then build the top leg. So I wouldn't have to try to do what I'm doing now, which is pretty tough, and that's working around it. But I didn't know what I was building at the time. I'll just scuff it up, and I guess I'll start with this bottom leg here. This is the Cinco Rojo with the grog.
So if you were working in your studio on this project, without knowing what you knew, when would be the decision of what this is going to be? When?
I don't think there's a point. It's kind of sometimes I will, like, I'll base it off a sketch and I'll just know what I'm doing. But sometimes with this, like, I don't know. I'll just keep on working and I'll add a shoulder, add an arm, and again, a lot of the time it might just end up being some kind of bear sloth weird hybrid kind of thing.
So the fur would be attached at this point, or no?
The what would?
If you were attaching the fur, would it at this time, or no?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, because I like to start working on the textures as the other parts are drying, you know, just to, I guess, save time in a way, and give me something to do as it's drying. Unless, I mean, yeah, again, unless I don't know what I'm going to be doing, then maybe I wouldn't add textures to it. But I'm just kind of adding the little coils on there like that over this slip that I added on there. And again, it's just help kind of just randomize it. I might try to do one over the knee, kind of like that. I'm gonna do one down there. And sometimes I'll tell myself as I'm starting, like, I'm not going to go overboard with it, and then it just kind of goes. I mean, every time it does, it just kind of slips away from me.
So you're putting this on and then you're gonna carve into it?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of like carving and smoothing it down too at the same time as I'm going.
Do you ever just carve into what's there?
Yeah, I do. But it's not as like dramatic, I guess. It's like the textures are I guess this way it pops out a lot more. Really like that. I like it's the way when I glaze it or underglaze it, I like just using that black to sink into all the cracks and crevices, and it really sinks in there if you give it more form, I guess. So I'm adding these little things like that. This looks like it's got a bunch of worms crawling all over it. And my go-to tool is what I call with the kids the Scoopy tool. So it's just like the little rounded kind of edge one. It's like a finger but smaller. So it gets into all those hard to reach areas. So I'll just use that, and I might kind of press into it. I might scratch it or carve into it. Just kind of whatever I feel like it, I guess. But poke at it in certain ways. And then again, like I might not add coils everywhere, and on those parts that I didn't add coils, I might just do what you just said and just kind of carve into those areas, because it is nice to have, you know, just different forms and different shapes to carve into. Make it more dramatic in a way. Yeah, I gotta watch out too. Sometimes I don't pay attention to what direction I'm going, and I mean it's weird if I'm just gonna stick with it pointing this way, and then so you'll get like a deep crevice going on the inside, and it kind of smooths out, and that's fine. But unless I switch it up without me realizing it, and then like so it'll be like weird in some areas. Like it's fine for me if it's completely random, but if I have it all unison and then I decide to switch it up without knowing, it looks kind of odd to me. It's annoying. So if I think about it in advance, that means I can be completely random with it right now and it won't be a problem. And I mean, a lot of the times too, when I don't know what I'm doing, I might, like as I'm trying to figure out what it's going to be or what I'm turning it into, it's a good time to be thinking about that as I'm doing this kind of stuff. Like I'm trying to think of ideas. I kind of thought about, I do like, it's been fun for me, like with the moon bear, experimenting with like mixed media in a way. So like that rod going through his head. And then I had another piece too that I recently finished. That's actually a broken piece that I was taking to Sarah's place to get fired, but it was a shark with a woman riding the shark, and she was kind of luring it with a fishing rod and an apple at the end of it. So the fishing rod was metal and had fishing line coming down off the end of it. So it's just, yeah, it's fun to think about different medias to use too. It's kind of thinking about that with this. Since I don't know what I'm doing, I was thinking about having one arm supporting its weight and the other arm maybe holding something out, and I don't know what yet.
Can you use epoxy for that then?
Yeah, for the fishing rod, I added epoxy. She had a thumb that it was like a little hole that I was able to have her hold on to. And then it was epoxy to her hand, which probably wouldn't have been strong enough. So it was actually also epoxy to her hip or her leg in a way. So it's like 2 points of contact. So it's a little bit stronger.
Do you still work in paper mache or
Yeah.
combining paper mache?
I'm trying to think. I haven't done that. I started doing a project that I planned. I made a ceramic like bear mouth face. I don't know what it was. Big angry looking toothy thing. And I was going to make the rest of the face and body with paper mache and just never finished it. But yeah, I don't think I've combined stuff. I'm trying to think here about that. I haven't combined paper mache and ceramic yet. Could be fun though.
How old are the kids that you're teaching?
For this summer, I'm doing 8 to 12-year-olds. And during the school year, it's going to be K through 5th graders. For a while, I was doing preschool too before everything shut down. That was pretty fun too. We actually wish I should have brought some funny videos of that. During the school year, we made giant paper mache. You know those like workout yoga balls, the big round ones? We covered those in paper mache, made little mascot heads out of them. So it was fun with the preschoolers put them on. It's just like this giant ball with like 2 little feet running around it. Really funny. So thinking that's looking all right. I might kind of go down in some crevices there to try to switch it up there, but I don't know if y'all can see that okay, but it's looking pretty texturized there. That's one leg down, and then I would keep on working on that one. This is still, so this side here. Now this side I have it pretty thick on top of here too. So I don't know if I want to smooth it or make it thinner right now, if I want to decide. I do feel like I want it to lean more to that way. So I probably will end up trying to scoop this side in more. So we make it more lean to the left. But I also don't want it to be leaning out so much, I don't think, because I'm sure I'm going to end up having his head leaning over, and that's just going to be like, if this is leaning out that much and then the head goes over, it's going to be really far out there. So I'm trying to not make it so much right now. So I might kind of stick my hand in here and try to push the inside, that just felt them stick there, but the inside ridge right there, I think I'm going to try to push out in a way. Try to change the form up just a little bit so it's not so dramatic, but still slight little That might be okay. Really curious to see what this turns into. I don't know, and sometimes when I'm doing this, I do just might get too frustrated and just, I don't know, not finish it in a way or turn it into something different. Yeah. I see some coils in here that I missed, like smoothing down is now it's annoying. Like I gotta smooth it out. Another thing too, I kind of just was thinking about it might be fun playing with different textures. So maybe he's got hairy legs and then something switches up and he doesn't have hair up there. I don't know. No, I'm not sure. Okay, we'll start working on this foot though. I'm sure I got to stretch it.
You cut, so the legs are hollow, but you cut a hole like between the leg and the where it attaches.
Yes, yeah. So I'll go in and I'll show you maybe when I start doing the shoulders here in a minute. Yeah, normally we'll cut out a little hole. And then I'll normally do like for hips and shoulders, I'll do like a little pinch pot for that form, and then I'll add on like the little cylinder form onto the pinch pot kind of thing. And I'll always cut out holes too so air can get out. Let's see. It is weird too, working like quiet. It's weird.
Start running around screaming.
I think I have one in mind that I think I might try to do for like a wall hanging piece. I forgot the whole process of it. Again, I get a lot of back and forth with the kids and I forgot how we came up with it. It was like it was a bear fairy, but it was like a blueberry bear fairy. Berry, I don't remember, but anyways, it's a funny little adorable little bear with fairy wings and antennas that I kind of thought would be fun for a wall hanging piece.
When you do a wall hanging piece, can you talk about what it looks like on the back?
Yeah, I mean, I started out with I feel like I've learned a lot in this process, but I've been doing, I did it not had a hard learning experience, I guess. I would leave like a big open area and I tried to would make like wood inserts to try to epoxy in there, which just added way too much work and became a mess. But eventually I just ended up making in a way, it's kind of like I'm just doing big pinch pots that would go right up against the wall, and then I will make a little slab to I'll attach it really well into there, and then just cut out like a little triangle that a screw can hang on it easy enough. I feel like I got it down pretty well now, where it's like supported and doesn't seem like it's going to break or anything. Try to keep it simple. I feel like is the best thing to do when I'm trying to think about it too much. Or
So they're light then, they're pretty light.
Yeah, I would say, less than 10 pounds. So yeah, I guess it's not light. I guess.
Like the anchor in the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely recommend people find a stud. That would be good. But nothing fell off during the show at the last show was in, so that was good. Let's see, what time is it? 8:15. Again, I feel like I'm trying to remember. I think these coils might be a little bit bigger than the last ones, and that's okay, I guess. Might add a few more down there.
So if you're working in the garage and it's hot, what do you do to keep the pieces moist while you're working on when you're away? Like, are you just using what we normally use? Plastic?
Yeah, I'll just cover it up, spray down and cover it back up with plastic bag. Yeah, yeah, it's all good.
She could brought cake.
What kind of thing? Whoa. Whoa. All right.
John, do you have any really good kid stories?
I'm sure I have a bunch, yeah.
I know you do.
Have you been really impressed with certain kids? like,
I mean, yeah, for sure, especially, I mean,
stand
this,
out?
this summer has been really surprisingly really good. I mean, normally, I mean, there's summers where I'm just like, oh, this is kind of rough, but this summer's been really great. I mean, there's been a lot of pieces, like, actually, the Triceratops lesson, I mean, we had 24 kids that session, and like, that was the first time ever that I got every single kid to do the project, and they're all like, I mean, normally they're excited to work with clay, so that's like a given, but it's very hard to get them to actually do the project that I proposed. Normally it's kind of just like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, not gonna fight it, because I remember that feeling too. I'm like, all right, whatever, it's fine. But this time they all wanted to do Triceratopses, and they all turned out awesome. I was just very happy. It was great. With the octopus lesson, it's so funny, because I normally, for any of our under the ocean type theme lessons, I try to avoid and discourage them from doing octopuses, because the tentacles like will break off like nothing. But for some reason this summer, I'm like, no, I'm gonna actually do a whole octopus lesson. And I think we only had, maybe 2 breaks with all the kids, and it was manageable. It was okay. It's great.
Do y'all ever do children's shows at the dorm to display all the work?
No, we don't really. I mean, sometimes, yeah. I mean, sometimes at the end of the school year. I mean, before pre-pandemic, we had like a little open house kind of thing, but I guess it wasn't really open to the public though. It's mostly just for kids and their parents. I don't know. I don't know if they've done anything else before.
We did one year, I think, it was like 2014.
Oh, okay.
It was like a staff.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, not since then.
Okay, well, I think I'm about done with the textures on the legs and feet there. All right. So again, that one was lower. So I'm trying to decide how I would add the lower shoulder now. I think I'm gonna trying to decide if I want to make. I mean, sometimes I will make these just strange little animal forms that like their shoulders are weight. I mean, our appendages are really close together just to make it just look kind of goofy. But for this one, I'm not sure if it would look. I might make it up a little higher with this guy. It's hard for me to picture this. It does have kind of long legs for a bear, so maybe it will turn into something else. But I'm just making a pinch pot now. This one might be a little bit too big.
Very much for Dawn.
Okay, so if this were going to be, that's one good thing though, is I am constantly always making pinch pots for the kids. So I feel like I'm pretty good at doing it now for myself here. I was making a little pinch pot for the shoulder. I think that'll work out. I'm just going to decide, kind of figure out where I want it to go on the body. And since this was the lower one, yeah, it was the lower one, I think. So I'll probably put the other one up a little higher, and I might build it up a little bit taller as to do the other one. But for this one anyways, I might put it, let me decide where I want it to be. I might put it right about there. Do I want it? I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want it to be even with the hip or if I'm gonna have it back farther or front. I don't know. I have it I don't want it too far forward because I think that would be covering up some of the paws and the hips. So I think I might have it to the side a little bit. So I'll probably do it right there, I'm guessing, and we'll see. If I like it, that's good, and if not, I might end up taking it off. But what I'll do is to kind of hold it in place, and I'll probably give myself like just a couple little guidelines like that, so I know where I can attach it later on, and then I'll just trace around it. Maybe. Get down there. Okay. And then, so it's about, I don't know, a little half an inch, quarter of an inch between there. So I'll give myself that amount of space to trace around. Not very precise. This clay still, I might, yeah, normally I might wait a little bit longer, but that's okay.
So in going from your two-dimensional drawings to your three-dimensional space, do you do the same kind of analysis while you're working, where you kind of back up and say, do I want this high, low, front, center?
I don't, with drawing, I feel like I don't really think about it with drawing. It's kind of, I don't
But
know.
when you go from the drawing
Oh,
to.
oh, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like, do you mean like, do I ever like switch it up or like,
Do you have to spend time thinking about where things go?
yeah, I feel like I always do because otherwise, I mean, yeah, I always do, yeah, for sure. And even if if I do plan it out, yeah, I'll spend time thinking about it. And if I don't, I'll end up trying to decide as I'm working on it. I'm like, yeah, that might not look right, or might be happier looking another way. So now after I slipped it all up, I'm just kind of working on the inside and smoothing it all down where I attached it to. Trying to go all the way around.
There's not a drawing for this piece though, right?
Say it
This
again?
is just, there's not a drawing. For
No,
this
no,
piece.
yeah, no, not a drawing. I don't know, didn't know what this is gonna be. So maybe, and if I don't know, here, I'm trying to think how long it.
A bear, a
Yeah.
bear.
I mean, again, yeah, they always end up turning into bears of some sort. Maybe, yeah, some type of goofy little bear with lowered eyes.
I think sun bears too, there's moon bears. I think
Yeah,
sun
there's
bears-
some bears are the ones with like the really long tongues. That there's some really fun pictures on the internet. So I definitely got inspired through those.
That was your pickle sun bear.
Mhm, yep.
What's a moon bear?
A moon bear. I'm trying, man. I really wish I'm sure I have a presentation on my computer somewhere to show you here. It's I can't remember if they're in Asia too. I'm trying to think there. I think there might be from Asia, but they're kind of,
They're rescuing one of them, someone or moon one.
yeah.
Big rescue.
I can't remember. I think the sun bear was the smallest species of bear. They're small little things, which is funny. You can't really tell from the pictures. You would just think that'd be kind of like a black bear kind of thing, but pretty small little things. I think a moon bear looks similar to a sun bear, but I think if I remember right, they might be like a little bit more shaggier. So I'm trying to work up in there in his armpit and try to smooth everything down. Because I do want it to be attached very well. It's normally something I'll spend a little bit more time on, just trying to make sure appendages aren't going to crack off later on. But you can kind of see, so pick this thing up. I don't know if y'all can see that inside of it. In a way, it's just, again, I just have the opening where the pinch pot shoulder goes in. And then now on the side, where did that little guy go? This is maybe the arm. I don't know if I want the arm to be that big. Where is it going to go? I want it to be curved. It's kind of hard. I have to decide if I want it to be sticking out, because I do want it to be like supporting itself in a way. So also I gotta keep in mind that I always try to tell the kids too, is you don't want things sticking too far out. You're creating more like pressure points later on. So I'm probably going to try to have it touching its own hip in a way, so the arm is touching its hip as it's kind of resting down. So I think I do want the elbow to be bent slightly too. So I'll probably have it going back just slightly so I can have it be bent. So this might be, do I want it to be back? Or, yeah, probably like this. Probably end up attaching it something like that. And then what do I want to? So normally I would sometimes, not normally, sometimes I do have to go in and change the angle up of this, but this actually fits pretty nicely how it is, I think. I'm just going to mark this here so I know where it goes, but sometimes I might have to go in with the needle tool and kind of change the angle of it so it fits better on the shoulder, however I want it to go. And that one fits right there, so I will trace around it. Like that. And again, you know what? Actually, before, maybe I'll show you how I attach this, but I don't know if I have anything else, because normally I definitely like to add the textures too, like all the way around. So I'm not trying to have to like reach up in there and try to get to those hard to reach places later on. It's nice to think about that beforehand so you don't have to work around it. Yeah, so for those, again, those textures, I'm just kind of using coils and those wooden tools. And then sometimes I'll go in and use stamps. Sometimes I might even use my needle tool if I want to be like really a deep kind of crevice. Really to get that underglaze up in there. Okay, so I got that hole cut out there. If y'all see that there, probably add this there.
Is your Instagram just your name?
It is Jon Nelson. It's so think of John, but it's Juan, J-U-A-N. I don't know why. I think that was a weird thing with Facebook. It was a long time ago where I didn't want to use my real name, so I just used Jon Nelson, and then instead of Jon Nelson, and then it just carried over, and I never changed it. Just trying to make it as hard as possible for people to find me. That's what you want.
Somebody wants your piece, you have to knock on the door.
Yeah,
and
that's basically
Somebody
it. Yeah.
has to open a little thing, and you have to say password.
Well, and this way, if you do start doing figurative art, that's one also, this is John.
Right, so one important thing that I learned from Robin that I'll pass on to the kids and to you is compress, 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 which is just meaning push those things together once you're adding them. Otherwise, they're going to crack off later on. So try to do that definitely with appendages. So smooth it on the outside. I'm going to try to smooth it on the inside, just using little roundy wooden tools. Great for that.
I really appreciate that you work in what I would call unusual segments. The shoulder defining then this part, as opposed to thinking of it as a whole thing, you get to decide every joint. I love that.
Yeah, I definitely like working with movement in a way to get a little bit more engaging, I guess, captivating.
Like iterate in smaller chunks. Yeah.
Let's see, so that might work. I might try to bring it out more towards y'all in a second. So I can. There we go. I think that's on there. And then again, I would just make another cylinder form for the forearm part. And right now his, what do we call that? Is that humerus? What's that bone called? Is that humerus? His the arm bone. Yeah, I think it's humerus. I don't know, but that's pretty long. So I'm definitely gonna, actually I like making them a little bit longer that way. That way I know I can cut it at an angle. It's for like the elbow angle, and it's not gonna be tight clay on later on. I figured I was just gonna add this on here.
Is that a favorite wooden spoon?
I guess so. I can't remember. I'm sure I just got it at HEB, but that's one I use a lot. Yeah, I do have a fond memory of my art education teacher. It's an older woman who was never smiled. It was a very straight face, and she even like made a point of telling me, like, I'm not angry at you. I just never smile. Kind of thing. That's one thing that's hilarious with her is like her seeing her with a wooden spoon patting this coil pot, saying bad clay, bad clay. And it's just really out of character and funny. But I think about her all the time when I have a wooden spoon like that. But that might be a little bit too thick, so I'm trying to compress it a little bit as I'm making it thinner here. Which is another texture I've been here exploring here recently, actually kind of copying off the kids, just getting some cool like cracks. I don't know if y'all can even see that, but the more and more like you're working with it, it starts cracking more. And I actually come to appreciate that a lot with working my own stuff. So I might even like on certain pieces, I'll go in like after it's more dry and try to like push it out some more and like in a way support it, but also push it. I can show you maybe down here and just to try to get some cracks showing in a way and get some cool texture showing. I just like doing that. That's more cool effects to it. Let's see. All right, so again, like that would obviously be like a huge long forearm there, long arm part right there, and that would be a short forearm. So what I would actually do is make this, try to make it a little bit skinnier. I can kind of like stick that in there for support and kind of wrap it around there to make it thinner and longer in a way. And sometimes actually a lot of the times here, it's depending on the size, I guess, actually, is I'll kind of work it into a little point there with the clay like that, and I'm just closing it in a way. But all right, so I got to decide the angle I want it at. So I'm thinking this one I'm gonna cut it like, I don't know the right terminology here that I'm trying to say with y'all, so I might just stop talking here and start cutting. I think I could probably do slight angle on this one. I might do slight angles on both of them and then see how it looks.
When did you say again, when you started working with clay?
For myself, 2017 is when I started, but I was building pinch pots with kids starting like in, I guess probably started working at the Doherty in 2013, but I didn't start doing like, I guess I started doing clay with them in the summer of 2013. But again, it was just like, we're making pinch pots. We're making funny little aliens out of these pinch pots. That's that kind of thing. But 2017 is when I started working for myself.
So is it your favorite medium then?
I would say
Yeah.
so. I like it a lot. I think it is just because it is like, it's pretty challenging. It's nice to explore with it. It's fun to come up with new things, new ideas, new ways of working with it, new bodies of clay. So it doesn't quite fit. I'm gonna have to, I think maybe I'll trim off a little bit more. Don't want to cut a little bit more of an angle. So not an exact science, it's just kind of playing around with it. And again, that's probably, it has a lot to do with the way I work. That way I don't have to worry about it being too realistic looking, just kind of keeping it playful. And I think it works well with my style. No, it's pretty decent, I think. I don't like, oops. Like that might be okay. I'm trying to decide if I want to, I know his hand is going to end up coming out somewhere to kind of be like supporting itself, but I don't know yet if I have to chop down the arm some or, yeah, I think the arm part is still looking kind of long to me, so I might chop it down a little bit more. It looks kind of strange. That's it. So for me, I feel like I'm okay if it has like a longer forearm, but if this part's longer than the forearm, I think that's kind of weird looking. I mean, not what I'm going for here, I think. I'll keep that a little bit more. But I would just chop this down and attach that. I don't know if we're running low on time here. Not sure how long it takes to clean up, but let me know if you have any other questions or anything, you guys.
Are we going to talk a little bit about your underglazing process?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, really, I will wait for it to dry till it's bone dry, and I will add. I think I use, is it Amico, right? Velvet underglazes to it to just the unfired clay, and then I'll bisque fire it. So that kind of glaze is fixed. The colors is, oh, sorry, kind of skipping ahead here. I'll do like the highlighted areas. So like whatever. If I was making a little blue and greenish maybe there, I might start off with a darker color. It's like a blue, and I'll paint the whole thing blue on the bisque square. Not
On
bisque.
the
I'm sorry. God. On the greenware, yes. So finish building it. It's dried. I'll paint it all blue maybe, and then maybe I want to give it a little slight color variation. So I might like hit some highlighted areas with like a yellow or green or something.
You said something about like the fur before, right? So
Yeah.
more dimension. Did
Yeah,
you do it
yeah.
twice?
Yeah.
With a different color the second time?
Yeah. So I'll probably, I'm trying to think here. I'll probably normally paint it with like 1 or 2 layers of like a darker color, and then I'll go over it with a lighter color. Sometimes I might do that reverse and paint. This is very confusing. I'm sorry with this part, but I'll paint it like maybe I'll paint it all yellow, and then I'll go over it with like a darker color and like maybe sponge it away slightly. Or I have very rarely done multiple firings, like multiple bisque firings. I mean, but I like working that way. It's just a matter of like, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know if it's really spend so much time on it or try to spend so many firings on it in a way. But most of the time I'll just try to do like a 1 bisque fire after I underglaze it, and then I will add the black for some contrast, and then I'll do the mid fire.
And the black would be going over the part that, like, let's say you did yellow on the whole thing. So then you're still putting the black over the yellow.
Yeah, I paint
White
everything.
away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll paint everything, and then I'll just sponge it away, and the black will remain in like all the cracks and crevices, but it stays away. It will get wiped away from the raised areas. Does that make
And the
sense?
yellow stays on, 'cause it's ready.
Right.
Yeah, I use velour black.
I love
Velour.
it. It's so the best.
I think I was told by someone at at Armadillo that it has like might have some like a little bit of cobalt in it, so it does give it like a slight like kind of like bluish hue to it, but I like it. It works well for my work. Yeah, so I think I like the way this looks here. So I probably end up scratching, attaching this on there and having my slip and smoothing it all down, and then I probably end up going in there and adding my little the hand parts. But I would probably do the claws and stuff too before I actually built the hand on there.
So how are you gonna smooth the inside and outside of that?
Of this one, that's a good question. I think I would, sometimes I'll try to reach my tool way down deep in there. And actually with this one, because I want it to be touching, have a couple of different contact points just so it's stronger. So I'll slip it here and slip it there, and I'll smooth it around the outside. I might not be able to smooth, actually I can still reach my finger down there. So I'll smooth it out there at the attachment points there, but we'll probably just add some slip right here and stick it together at the hip right there. So his wrist is kind of touching his hip there, just so it's attached in multiple spots. And then that way, hopefully we won't have any breaks. Yeah. Really cool.
Talking about the underglaze, I think it was the bear that you said was like your first big piece.
Mhm.
It looked like there was like some yellow, almost like lace type
The texture.
texture.
Yeah, or lichen.
Way
The
back
first
when you
bear.
first started talking
Oh,
about.
gotcha.
working
Yeah, so it
with
was, I know what you're talking about. It was, I don't know what you want to call it, it was like a type of lace. It was a fabric material, like heard some
Yeah.
people, almost like a little doily kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I was just laying the fabric over the clay and then painting over it with slip and just waiting for it to dry and then peeling it off.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
not even under those, you slip or was
Yeah, it was slip for that one. Yeah. I like to.
So the texture was built up
Mhm, it
and then
was.
the
It was great.
glazing just kind of
Yeah.
stayed on the raised brush.
Okay.
And that was, yeah, that was like a very, very, very early piece. So with that one, I didn't do I think I actually painted that thing black first and had it fired, and then I did the color on top of it. So kind of reverse.
Uh-huh.
But I think I would probably do it differently now if I were to revisit that kind of work.
When you end up doing the hand for that arm, do you make the whole hand separate and attach it, or do you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'll try to work on that now. Like, yeah, so I make it's not even the right size. This one's a little bit too small here, but I can show you at least what I do. I make the little form that I want it to be. I will go in, is this the right tool? I like this sharp tool kind of here. And I'll go in and give it, how many digits? I want it to be 5 here. So I got to think about his thumb would be a little bit bigger. Maybe if he had, I don't think they're considered thumbs, but this finger, the inside finger is going to be bigger. So I'll make that one a little bit bigger. So I'll go in with my tool and give it a few little digits like that. And then I'll kind of flip it around to the other end and round it out a little bit to give it little bitty nubs. And then I'll go in with very, very skinny coils for the claws. This is kind of a rough way of doing this. I normally will go a little bit slower, but it's also fun to do. Film me or not, but I'll do little paw textures too, maybe with the tool. Give a little, I don't know what you want to call that, little palm wrinkles. But yeah, I'll do all that beforehand, and then I'll add it on later on. Little.
So do you ever get really attached to your friends?
I'm surprised. Yes, I do. And I am trying to work my way around that here very recently here. I'm like, yeah. That one though, not that one. Yeah, that one I am keeping. He's always by my bedside. I like that one a lot. It's kind of fun.
That's the first one, right?
Yeah. There's that one, and I don't have a picture, man. I really wish I was going to bring this piece to show y'all, and I forgot it. And because I knew I was going to bring it, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to put a picture of it. But another one of my favorite ones is a horse that I did, and he's got really skinny little legs. And originally, I made this piece because I wanted this like horse to be taking control of its own reins, kind of thing. He's grabbing his own reins, and the legs ended up breaking before I got it fired. So I was very disappointed in that. But I figured, whatever, I'll just work on it and fix it. And after I got it fired and decided to epoxy the legs back on, I was like, oh, I'll just give it some bandages. So now it turned out even better because it's like this horse with broken, bloody legs and stuff. This looks so great. He's like grabbing his own reins, but also one of my favorite pieces that I don't think I'm gonna sell ever,
Yeah.
but had
Is it
people
on
ask.
Instagram?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
on
so,
there.
yeah.
So
I remember when you found that broke.
I had, you know what, I think I was gonna say, I swear I had a nightmare before it happened too, because I was like scared it was gonna happen, then it ended up happening. It happens.
So if something breaks, or there's always a way to salvage it, right?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I did have like the piece I was telling you about earlier. Like I had one I was transporting to Sarah's place. A tail broke off of the shark. Actually, it's another one I posted here recently on the Instagrams, but the tail broke, and I think I did a pretty good job at fixing it. I don't know if you could see the repair or not, but someone bought it, so that's great. I even after me tell them, like, I gotta tell you, I broke it, but I've been told. I know. I even had your voice tell me, like, I swear, I even told them, Robin, as I'm telling them, I told them, I've been told that it doesn't matter if you can fix it or whatever, the sculptures, it's okay. Like, it just felt bad, yeah, like I couldn't do it.
So are you saying you put like bandages on the legs of the horse?
Yes, yes.
Made out of clay?
The bandages, no, they were actually like ace
Cloth.
bandages,
Oh,
like the
okay,
actual,
that's
like,
cool,
yeah.
yeah.
And then I did end up adding like just a watered down acrylic with, kind of like brown and red, so you have like a little like blood stain kind of look to it. But now it's like, yeah, it's one of my favorite pieces just because it was a happy little accident. But yeah, so I'm adding just like tiny little coils now for claws, basically. This is weight.
Is that the top or is
This
that
is going to be the top. Yeah, this part's the top here that I'm adding that little claws to. This is very slippy. Normally I wouldn't have it so wet.
And then you put something across that so you don't
Exactly.
see it. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. And then I'll use my little scoopy wooden tool to blend it all in between like the claws and the digits.
Yes. But that just seems like the most fragile.
Yeah, especially on this scale. This is a little bit smaller than I normally work with. Yeah, it is a little bit more fragile for sure. The larger scale, I feel like, yeah, it's a little bit.
I was working on a polar bear some weeks ago, maybe some months ago. And I just could not figure out how to do the
Oh,
claws.
really?
And that's so important. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't hardly look like a polar bear.
But yeah, so I have the claws in there. I'll just go over with, like you said, that little coil on top here, just like that. And I might kind of figure out how I want it to run it down, but.
Oh, I see.
And I might actually, I think I put it down a little bit too low. I want to kind of cover up the claws a little bit. And then I will get my little scoopy tool. Where'd you go? And just kind of working the digits there to smooth it down. Just like that. And then I'll attach it on there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Yep, again, I don't know what this thing will be, if I'm gonna end up keeping it or not, but maybe I will post it when I do finish it, if I do.
And you can post it on GACA.
Cool. Well, thank you all too.
In your making process, do you like make the entire thing, then start doing like finer details like claws, and I guess like hands, and then fur, or do you just do it along as you make?
If it's a bigger piece, yeah, I'll do it along as I go, but if it's a smaller piece, like especially like these little smaller ones I've been in recently, I will like build the whole thing and then do the details last. But for larger pieces, yeah, like basically larger pieces, I'm working from the bottom up just because I'm working with drying times and trying to keep it as strong as possible as I'm going up. So I do want it to dry a little bit. So I'll have to do the textures while it's still somewhat wet in a way. Yeah. Thanks again, y'all. I wasn't expecting so many people.